And when there's a guy that's literally flinching with emotional pain every time that a ball is leaving his fingers because he knows it's going to get hit, maybe you take that guy out. Maybe you have somebody warming up. Maybe you don't let Kevin Kelly, who is getting hit at a 313 clip against lefties, face mostly lefties when you have a guy like Ian Seymour who's a lefty.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Captain Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
Bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
We're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
So grab your favorite Rays gear and settle in as we discuss the Rays' disastrous, and I'll say it, entire series against the White Sox, but particularly what happened on Wednesday evening. Boy, that was an S show if we've ever seen one. That might be, I haven't kept track here, but perhaps the worst loss of the season. Definitely top 3 or top 5. We're going to talk about that and more.
We're going to talk about all of that. And before we get to just dissecting every single thing, got to tell you, thank you so much for hitting that like button, for hitting that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for joining this community that has been growing ever so slightly every day since we did our first pod in 2019 and our first YouTube episode in 2021. So thank you all for joining the community, for writing those comments, for sending your mailbag questions. Thank you for that. We should open up very this is very clear. This whole episode, we have a structure, but given the nature,
given there was no structure to the Rays on Wednesday, we might be all over the map.
We might be a little bit over here and over there for sure. So I just want to get that out of the way first.
It's like a movie that starts out well, has some bad moments, some good moments, and the ending was the worst ending ever, and I want my money back.
It's kind of like Game of Thrones. You know, you start with such high expectations, and then you watch the ending, and you're like, what the bleep?
It's like, why is there a Starbucks coffee cup in this scene here?
Yeah,
Starbucks back then.
Okay. So the Rays lose 11-9. A game that they had a lead for 4-0. Then they led 6-4. And they led 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
They lost all those leads. Multi-run leads gone. It started with Taj not being able to hold that 4-0 lead, and he's out by the second inning, and he's been demoted to AAA. So
and we'll talk about that. And it's funny because I was driving home and I turned on the radio and the game had just started, and I hear that Mason Englert is warming up, and I'm like, wait, was this a 4 p.m. start or something? A 5 p.m. start? No, it was the regular start time. It was just the second inning. So that goes to show you, when you have to warm up a bullpen arm that quickly and that rapidly, usually things may or may not go awry, or things will usually go awry. And it's not that settling if you're a Rays fan because of the questionable nature of this bullpen. It's not the bullpen of yesteryear where, oh my gosh, we're going to get 6 different studs in there throwing different arm angles and 99 miles an hour fastballs and crazy sliders and breaking balls. No, you bring in, you go to the bullpen. That means runs are probably going to be scored. And that's ultimately what happened.
And exactly. And so let's get to the big bullpen moment with Kevin Kelly. He blows it. I actually tweeted what happened to Kelly, and I want to tell it to you as well, Kevin. So Kelly in the 8th, walk, single, walk, double, ground out, reached on error, single. Then comes the pitching change. Okay. That's a Kevin Crash moment.
Kevin Crash moment. Yep.
What are you doing, Kevin? Like, my man, I know that first of all, yes, we're fans. So there's that fanatical and there's that sometimes emotional aspect of it. I will give that. But I don't care. It's July 24th. You're trying to show your front office something. You're trying to show your fandom we're still in this thing. You're trying to show your own players we're into this thing. And you're just sitting there in the railing with your hands in your pocket, not doing bleep. I mean, my man, you have to win this game. And I know the cooler heads are going to be like, it's a game in July. This does not make or break their season. Well, I'm sorry to say that you have been brainwashed by the Excel spreadsheets, my man, because the Excel spreadsheets are incredibly valuable. They are so valuable. They give us data that we never had before, and we have to use them. But not to the extent that we forget that there are human beings in front of you. And when there's a guy that's literally flinching with emotional pain every time that a ball is leaving his fingers because he knows it's going to get hit, maybe you take that guy out. Maybe you have somebody warming up. Maybe you don't let Kevin Kelly, who is getting hit at a 313 clip against lefties, face mostly lefties when you have a guy like Ian Seymour who's a lefty,
right,
who's shown you good stuff. And you have to cover 2 innings, and it's an easier math equation to put a guy there for 2 innings who's done the job than 2 guys for 1 inning a piece.
Yes. I don't know whether Kevin Cash doesn't like Kevin Kelly and he wants him to suffer, or Kevin Cash is a masochist, or somebody out there had a lot of money on the White Sox and wanted them to win. I mean, those are really the only options I have here, because
what happened?
Has Kevin Kelly shown anything this year to illuminate the idea that, yeah, he can get out of a jam. He can handle himself. I feel like he does not have a good enough track record this year. And correct me if I'm wrong, he only has 1 pitch. So same
That's
thing
working,
over
yes.
and over and over again. And you have the White Sox hitters communicating, hey, he's just going to throw the sinker. That's it. Just watch for the sinker. If it's in this part of the zone, swing at it and you can do damage on it. And as the events go on, you can see a pitcher losing confidence and not having it. And when you don't have it, the other team is going to pounce on it like crazy.
And they did. I really, this was just, and just being left out. And it's a moment where I know some people are going to be like, well, it's the White Sox. Exactly. It's the White Sox. You can't let this happen. If you have ideations of being a playoff team, of being a team that can really go for it in October, this is the baseball is an amazing sport because anybody can win against anybody. But when you have multi-run leads across a game against a team that's really mostly AAA, quad A guys, you cannot give yourself this much of a bad showing. And it's not only on the players. I have to insist, this was on Kevin Cash mostly. And we're going to talk about how else I think he affected the game in a negative way. But first, we got to tell you guys something very important on the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue, and that is the hat that both Ulises and I are wearing right now. For Rays fans like me and you and everybody else, this hat hits the mark. Game Day Hue, they make clean, no-logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. None of those giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. And in addition to hats, I love a good hat on the golf course, but what I like even more on the golf course is gloves, golf gloves. And Game Day Hue has this. It is not just hats. They also have their split shade gloves made for the golf course, which is also the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. I actually have not used this golf glove yet because I admire the look and the color and the leather. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to get dirt on it. I just want to savor it, if you will. But I will try it out probably this weekend, actually. And you should too. Get the hats, get the gloves, get everything they have to offer. Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDay, HUE.com. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15.
So let's talk about another way that Kevin Cash, I think, missed the mark yesterday. It's not only leaving Kelly against mostly lefties, it's not leaving Kelly for the amount of time. It's the fact that when several of your players, including your franchise player, is getting incredibly bad calls at the plate, and you've just seen an explosion caused by you, mostly. Get out there, man. Get out there, man. That's part of your gig. I know it's cool to be cool in Temple all the time. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Great. But sometimes you need to just get out, protect your players. Show them that you care, that on July 23rd, you're getting spanked by the worst team in baseball. It's the worst team in baseball, and you have nothing to say when there are at least 5 bad calls in the 9th inning, and you have the opportunity to tie the game. You're 2 runs away, and you don't get out there to protect Junior Caminero at least? What was up with Cashless yesterday? Again, just another Kevin Crash moment.
He must have not had his coffee or his dip. That's the only thing. He was low energy, I guess, was maybe the thing with Kevin Cash. He just wasn't thinking properly. In those types of moments, they can energize and reinvigorate the team. If there might be a rain check on a Kevin Cash blow up and getting in an umpire's face. I feel like that's going to happen sooner than later, because something has to give right now. And to your point earlier about, hey, it's only July 23rd, there's still time. Yes, that is all true. But the Rays are working with a deadline, and that is the trade deadline. And how this team plays now and up to that deadline partially determines whether the front office is going to make certain moves to help or rebuild or shave payroll or do a combination thereof. And what we've seen in the series against the White Sox and a little bit in the Orioles, not enough. You got to do better. And the way I look at it, like, I'm totally preparing and bracing for a fire sale here. And here's the other thing is, we talk about how the schedule is going to get so much tougher in August with the travel and the road trips. You need to build up some equity. You need to bank some wins and some series wins, and frankly, probably some sweeps against last place opponents. And the Rays aren't doing that right now. So I am totally, at this moment on this recording, I am resigned to the idea that there might be some big names in the Rays locker room that are shipped out of town by the time the July trade deadline hits.
I see 100% your perspective. I think that the idea that this team can be buyers only is gone. That's gone.
Yeah.
And you might like this team a lot. We do too. We do these podcasts. But you have to be a little bit rational here. This team, how can you bet on this team when they're giving you, look, the 24-9 was beautiful. The 24-9 was great. That was 35 game sample size.
Yeah.
We've played over 100 games. So that means that in 35 games, they were amazing when we were all very happy. But guess what? For 60 plus games, for 70 games, they've been kind of mid.
Yeah.
They've been kind of just meh. And so You can't really tell me, but look at the 24-9. Oh, so you're telling me to pay attention to more of a small sample size than what they've shown most of the season? In most of the season, they've just been a 500 team. So how can you be a buyers only? So I think if you're a Rays fan, you have to be a little bit logical here and say, no, they're not going to be a buyers only. That's gone.
Right.
Okay. Can they sell off some pieces here and there, like you're saying? I think so. I don't think this is the time where they'll. I think Bilal, because of his IL stint, is actually safe. He's not going anywhere. And I still think that Yandy Diaz is not going anywhere. I think with Yandy, you would just be.
You better get the moon and more for Yandy
Exactly.
Diaz at this point.
And
Every other game he's hitting an opposite field home run.
Exactly. And I don't think you are. And besides, just to give us a 20-second moment of happiness here, Chandler Simpson and Yandy Diaz back-to-back is so great because Chandler is allowed the flexibility to run because Yandy usually is not going to have much power. And when you have Chandler on the bases, you usually are going to see more fastballs. And guess who hits fastballs at a 420 clip? That's Yandy Diaz. So I think that combination.
Oh, well, evidently the matchup's working because Simpson went 3 for 5 last night. And then Yandy got that home run, and Simpson added to a stolen base total. Then Caballero got a stolen base. So it looks like there's a little internal competition brewing between Simpson and Caballero, which I'm all for it at this point. And then you look at it, the Rays slapped together 15 hits and 9 runs. I would just assume, you should probably win that game. You score 9 runs, you should win a game.
You should win
99.8% of the time
at
home.
And this is the most frustrating part about it is that you're like, we can hammer on the 15 hits, we can hammer on the 9 runs, and that's a great showing. And we're like, hey, no, but this team can really hit. Bro, you did it against the White Sox and you couldn't even win. So you can't tell me that it's a great offensive showing when you're hitting the White Sox and you still couldn't win. So just not great overall for everybody that was still thinking that this is a buyers only. I don't think that Yandy and Bilal are leaving. However, Fairbanks could be gone.
Yeah.
Curtis Mead packaged, Josh Lowe packaged, Caballero packaged. I can see that. You need space for Johnny DeLuca. Yeah. You need space for Richie Palacios. So I think there are auxiliary pieces that we really like from this team that could be gone.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. It's just by the way, the Rays dropped to 53-50. They're 7.5 games behind the AL East leading Blue Jays. The loss also kept the Rays 1.5 games out of the third wild card spot, which is currently held by the Red Sox. Was like Pete Fairbanks or another reliever not available? Was there anybody that could have bailed out Kevin Kelly sooner, considering that the Rays have an off day before facing the Reds on Friday?
Thank you for mentioning the off day. There's an off day. I know that some people, the cool kids, are thinking it's a game in July. Why are you going to be imagining it like October? Because you're in that moment. You need to show your front office, hey, we have some fight, and you didn't, and you have an off day. So was there another guy? Well, I guess the move would have been, there's mostly lefties coming up. You literally put Ian Seymour to replace Kevin Kelly. Why not start that inning with Ian Seymour? Or why not stretch out Joe Boyle one more inning? I know that he hasn't pitched, that much, or they're trying to shift him over, but I don't believe in that. Oh, well, they now shift him over to 3-4 innings. Really? You don't think the Taj Bradley demotion does not come out of nowhere? This has been talked about. And when he gives you the 2 innings, I mean, everybody knows, hey, this has happened. This is. And
he pitched a perfect first inning, and then of course it blew up
and then lost it.
Maybe they should have let him go another inning. That way we didn't have to see Kevin Kelly.
Maybe. There's a lot I think that could be done, but we got to tell you guys something very important on the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Ever wish managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning that big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money, it's more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. We all like that, right? So go ahead, take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
So with Joe Boyle, would you have rathered? I think that's the answer to your question. It's either Joe Boyle one more inning or Ian Seymour to start that inning. Do you have a preference?
I mean, really anything but Kevin Kelly at that moment. I mean, I'd rather see more of Joe Boyle. I think Joe Boyle is more proven and electric, but anything to get Kevin Kelly out of there before, the sabotage totally unravels and leads to the loss. I mean, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 runs allowed in 4 hits in 1 1/3 innings pitched. That's his 3rd blown save of the year. He now has a very stroke
5.20 ERA, right?
5.4 ERA, 5.40.
What has Kevin Kelly shown you that he can handle a 2-run lead in the 8th inning?
Yeah, that's high leverage.
That's high leverage, man. Kevin Kelly's your high leverage guy? Really?
If he is, you better start making some trade acquisitions quickly.
And I know. Again, let's go to Kevin Cash's corner. Hey, Kevin, we're there for you. Let's be your defendants here for the next 45 seconds. Bro, I got Kevin Kelly to use. What do you want me to do? Just like make up a Harry Potter spell and make up the bullpen to be better? I can't do that. I'm Kevin Cash. I'm just a human. I got you, Kevin. You're correct. But you did have options there. You can't tell me you couldn't have put Ian Seymour to start the inning when you ended up using Ian Seymour to clean up that mess. And guess what? He did it, didn't he? And you can't tell me you can't use Ian Seymour when there's mostly lefties coming up that Kevin Kelly is getting hit .313 against lefties. Why is he in that role? Why is he in that position? Why is he on the mound right now? And Joe Boyle, you're demoting Taj. That didn't come to Cash as a big surprise. We're demoting Taj after today's. They knew this. They're very communicative. They know what's going on. They work hand in hand, the front office and Kevin Cash. That didn't come as a surprise. So why not use Joe Boyle to kind of get him stretched a little bit further so that in the next 5 days, when it's Tosh's turn in the rotation, and it's probably going to be Joe Boyle, well, maybe he has a little bit more of a stretched version of himself for that start. I just don't see why Kevin Kelly needs to be on the mound that time.
Yeah, it's just the whole game was unfortunate outside of the first inning, really. I mean, where the Rays were up 4-0 and you had homers from Caminero and Yandy. And at that point, it's like, well, yeah, this is a win, right? I mean, it's got to be. You're up 4-0 with a couple really nice home runs. You got at least a 90% chance of winning that ball game. And then we get to what happened with Taj Bradley. So now Taj Bradley is demoted, sent to AAA. And I think the main reason, obviously, Taj Bradley has been extremely inconsistent, kind of like with the Rays. I mean, the Rays can have a good 24-9 stretch. They can be good on a Tuesday and then struggle on a Monday and a Thursday and a Friday. And that's sort of the vibe I get with Taj Bradley, but it seems like what the Rays are really hammering down on him, besides the fact that he's not striking out enough guys, he's walking too many guys, he's not generating enough swing and misses. That's all tied to the fact that he really only has 2 offerings right now, and he has to find a way to develop a true, legitimate third pitch. It looks like it could be the split change or the curveball, something off speed, because it's hard to get away in baseball this day and age as a starter with only 2 pitches, unless those are the 2 best pitches you've ever seen, like Tyler Glass now with the fastball and the 12-6 curveball back in the day. But yeah, A cutter and a fastball aren't going to do it.
And even he had to develop that slutter, right? So hopefully he can get that splitter working in AAA and getting a little more consistency. Look, right now, do we know that he's got the stuff to be a top of the rotation kind of guy? Yes. But if you take off those 9 starts from last year where he won pitcher of the month in July, it's been more of this.
Right.
It's been more of the maybe he's a 4 or 5 in your rotation rather than a 1 or a 2. And
which is fine. Everybody needs a 4 and 5.
That's ultimately exactly like not every pitching prospect that you have, even your top pitching prospect, is going to be an ace. Sometimes there needs to be 4s and 5s in the world. Okay.
Not everybody can be Paul Skeens. If a top pitching prospect becomes a number 4 starter for a decade, that's a win.
That's a win. That's a win. I mean, so I think maybe as Rays fans, we don't get spoiled too much, literally. But maybe our pitching resume, our pitching background of success has led us to believe that all of our prospects that are arms should be the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're going to be 4s and 5s, and maybe that's the case with Taj Bradley. I really hope not. I hope he's a top of the rotation arm, but like there is a chance that, hey, he's a 4 guy who's going to give you a 4.30 ERA. And that's what you have to deal with. And that's cool. He can be a long-term option in the rotation at a 4.30 ERA, being a number 4 or number 5.
Or maybe we're just trading the wrong prospects, i.e. Christopher Sanchez and Joe Ryan.
The Rays don't usually miss that bad, but you got to give, I think, Mead 1 more year because of the playing time hasn't been there for him. Which, by the way, he went deep in Durham, which was nice. Also, if you want to watch some Durham baseball, FanDuel, they're going to be showing 6 AAA games and starting tonight on Thursday. That? So that's pretty cool. So if you want to
see some wins after all,
so maybe if you want to cleanse the palate a little bit from this White Sox series, you can watch some Durham baseball tonight. But overall. A mess of a series that I think has now put down the gauntlet of we're not buyers only, and there will be names that will be sold. So get ready for that. I know you guys don't want that, but it's happening. I don't think it's Yandy or Bilao, but everybody else, I wouldn't be surprised.
And Curtis Mead could be part of that list. I mean, we had I'm not going to really talk too much about the Stuart Fairchild, a very bizarre situation where he gets traded. He comes off the plane, goes to the batting cage, and strains his right oblique. That is the most Rays thing ever. Yes. Evidently, it could have been the flight, could have been stiffness, could have been dehydration, whatever it is. He's out for the count for a period of time. And instead of calling up Curtis Mead, the Rays called up Coco Montez, who he's just like
a body.
Yeah, he literally a body. We
need another guy in cleats that could just hold a glove and hold a bat.
Can you not sprain your oblique for
basically
a 5-game set? But instead of calling up Curtis Mead, because they don't want to call up Curtis Mead because he won't get the playing time right now. Which and my thought is like, when's he ever going to get the opportunity for playing time?
Well, Jonathan Aranda went through the same thing. So it's either, hey, you just have to hold on, kid, and we'll get you there, or they do have some ideations of possibly trading him.
Yes. All right. There it is. In the meantime, thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Local analysis brought to you on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on the YouTubes or wherever you listen to those podcasts.